Your surroundings define you. Your surroundings, what they are, it's everything around you. Where you sleep, where you work, where you study, where you go to school. But it's not just little material things. It's also the people you're around and the things you have to do. For example, your room. Simplest, like the most common type of surrounding, almost universal, right? You have your room, you have your bed, wherever you sleep, your clothes. It might be where you study as well, where you rest, relax, study. Maybe it's where you work out for some people, if you work out at home. And it's kind of like a do-it-all. You've shaped your surroundings to your needs. You need a space to sleep, okay? Well, you have a bed. You need a place to store your clothes, okay? Well, maybe you have a dresser, maybe you have a closet to put your clothes in. You need a space to work out, okay? Well, you're gonna have an empty area on the floor to do your push-ups. And you've catered your surroundings to what you need and what you want to do. And your surroundings basically shape like what you're able to do. Let's say you're at home, you live in a really loud environment. That makes it, say, difficult to study, right? You do something like go to the library, much quieter, open space, books. You're surrounded by learning material, and you're in that environment where you're there to study. Same with, say, something like going to the gym, right? Working out at home. It works, but honestly, for a lot of people, it's not ideal. Like mentally, it might be a lot harder to get yourself in the mindset of working out when you're also doing it in the same room you're going to sleep in and relaxing in, versus say you go to the gym and now you're surrounded by a whole bunch of like-minded people that are doing the exact same thing you are. But on top of that, you're surrounded by the equipment, music, there's an entire mood shift when you go to some place like the gym or the library. But on top of the surroundings, it's also the people you're surrounded by. Aside from just the physical setting that your surroundings are, the people you surround yourself with will also change or mold you as well. If I'm around people that, let's say, don't do drugs, don't smoke, don't drink, chances are I'll probably be like them too. I'll pick up like small habits like that where I don't smoke, I don't drink. Or if I have friends that are all very, very fit because they're all in a running club or they're all in a CrossFit gym, my person being in their presence is probably going to steer that way as well. But also, it can be a negative thing too. If you're surrounded by 5-10 people, your group of friends that are called negative influences, and I'll use drugs as a very broad statement, you'll probably end up like them too. Unfortunately, I have like the perfect example of this. I know someone a few years younger than me that's surrounded by that type of negative influence. It's unfortunately with his own family, already a lot of drug usage going on, or if it isn't drug usage going on, it's just that they don't care about it going on. And as he's grown older, it's translated to being surrounded by friends that are also massive drug users. And for the past few years I've known him, I've seen him put more drugs in his body than people go their entire lives never consuming. And unfortunately, which we'll tie into something later, you can't really change that without a very consistent mindset. Unfortunately, he's grown up in surroundings, and as he's gotten older, crafted his own surroundings as well with something he's familiar with, which is unfortunately a lot of drugs and alcohol. And now you can pressure him to change, or he may try to change himself, but if he's not consistent with it, nothing's going to change. It's the same thing with trying to get on a diet, eat healthy. I can be really quick about it. On the first day I think about it and be like, okay, I'm gonna eat healthy, and then for that entire day I'll make homemade meals, less sugar, less salt, healthier oils, and I could be like, yeah, I ate healthy for today, so therefore I am a healthier person. But if you don't keep that up day by day by day by day, you've just fallen back to your old ways, and you're not gonna get any healthier. And in the case of the friend I brought up earlier, we tried to be like, hey, listen, this isn't good for you. Let's try to steer away from that, and we'll make some big changes that, as long as you're consistent with, you'll become a much healthier person. And he was consistent for about a week or two. Changes slowly started to happen, But then he made the decision to not stay consistent anymore, and he fell back on his regular ways. And all that progress he made was lost, and any potential progress, if he stayed with it, was also lost. He was back to square one. And that's the prime example I would use to tell yourself remain consistent, because you're never actually going to go anywhere. You're never going to learn anything new. Nothing's actually going to change for you. One of the keys to consistency is also eliminating as many distractions as possible. Let's say you want to use your phone less. Well, one way you could do it is you can just go and toss your phone and say goodbye, throw it in the sewer. But I mean, that's kind of a stupid idea. But what you can do is take away some distractions. Uninstall Instagram, uninstall TikTok. And now there's much less incentive to actually go on your phone, and therefore decreasing your screen time already. Let's say you need to study, but your parents or your family and whatnot is always yelling, or you just have a very loud household. Not a great way to study. Get out of your house, go to the library, go to the park, go to a car and chill in there and do your work. It's much easier to stay on the correct path if you don't have a million things on the sideline shouting at you to go a different direction. And every action you take, especially when you're young, is not actually actions from your own choice. A lot of it is what your parents, your friends, or your family, extended family, I guess, have drilled into you when you were growing up. Like, I can confidently look back to when I was like 14, 15, 16 years old. Almost all the time it was what my parents had told me, and I decided, I would just take. I always thought it was my own idea, but really, it really wasn't. But as you get older, you start to realize it's not that these people were trying to tell you what to do. They're just trying to guide you or give you a different perspective. And as you get older, hopefully you realize that you're also able to detach and look at all this advice from a different perspective, and instead make an educated decision of your own choice. Instead of just because someone told me I should go to this school, I'm going to go to this school. Instead, I'm going to look at why they told me to go to this school, and then look at why this would be a good school for me. It's important to try and parse out all this information you've accumulated over as you're growing up, growing into an older person. And if you're hopefully at the level where you can think for yourself, control your own actions, and not let anyone else influence you, then you have to try to use that as much as possible to make yourself grow. If I'm able to think critically and make decisions for myself, then I need to immediately look at what is my next best decision to upgrade my life or make myself a better person. And it's not going to be wasting my time scrolling through Instagram or Facebook. It's going to be taking a class, learning something new. And it's important to do that because 5 years from now, you'll look back and you'll thank yourself